Eli Manning. In today's video we'll learn about Eli Manning. Going through the sections. Abstract, early life, college career, professional career, other ventures, personal life, external links. Abstract. Elijah Nelson Manning IV, born January 3, 1981, is a former American football quarterback who played in the National Football League, NFL, for 16 seasons with the New York Giants. After playing college football at the University of Mississippi, he was selected as the first overall pick in the 2004 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers and traded to the Giants during the draft. He is the youngest son of former NFL quarterback Archie Manning and younger brother of former NFL quarterback Peyton Manning. Although Manning struggled with consistency throughout much of his career, he is recognized for twice leading the Giants to underdog Super Bowl victories against the New England Patriots dynasty in Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46. The former, which saw the wild-card Giants defeat a Patriots team that was the first to win all 16 regular season games, is regarded as one of the greatest sports upsets of all time. Manning was named Most Valuable Player in both games, making him one of 5 players to have multiple Super Bowl MVP awards. As the Giants' starting quarterback from 2004 to 2019, Manning holds franchise records for most passing yards, touchdown passes, and completed passes in a career. He also demonstrated durability throughout his career, never missing a game due to injury and starting 210 consecutive games from 2004 to 2017, the third longest consecutive start streak by an NFL quarterback. Manning ranks 8th all-time in passing yards and 9th in touchdowns. This project compresses information gathered from Wikipedia in video format. Why should I watch it? Studies prove that reading while listening improves comprehension, increases speed as well as expands vocabulary and enhances fluency. Provide your feedback on the comments section. Support the channel by subscribing and liking the video, thanks. Early life. Manning was born in New Orleans, the youngest of 3 boys for Olivia, Nee Williams, and NFL quarterback Elisha Archibald Archie Manning III, both natives of Mississippi. Manning attended high school at the Isidore Newman School in New Orleans, where he played football and basketball for the Greenies. In his high school career, Manning passed for 7,389 yards and 89 touchdowns. On February 7, 1999, he committed to play college football at Ole Miss. College career. Manning entered college in the shadow of his brother Peyton, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, and his father, who was considered a folk hero at Ole Miss. During his years with the Rebels at Ole Miss, Manning set or tied 45 single-game, season, and career records. His career numbers include 10,119 passing yards, 81 touchdown passes, and a passer rating of 137.7. As a freshman, Manning competed with veteran Romero Miller for the starting quarterback position and saw little playing time. He appeared in 6 games and passed for 170 total yards and 1 interception. With the departure of Miller, Manning became the Rebels' starting quarterback as a sophomore. In the first game, against Murray State, he converted 20 of 23 pass attempts for 271 yards and 5 passing touchdowns in the 4,914 victory. In the following game, a 2,721 loss to Auburn, he had 265 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. Over the next few games, Manning helped lead the Rebels to victories over Kentucky, Alabama, and LSU. On November 3, in 5,856 loss to Arkansas, Manning passed for 312 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns. Overall, Manning had a solid first year as the Rebels' starting quarterback with 2,948 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions as the Rebels finished with a 74 record. Manning's junior season started out promising with a 313 victory over Louisiana Monroe and a 3,816 victory over Memphis. Manning had 4 passing touchdowns and 1 interception combined in those 2 games. In the next game, a 4,228 loss to Texas Tech, Manning passed for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Rebels won their next 3 games, which were over Vanderbilt, number 6 Florida, and Arkansas State to earn Ole Miss a number 21 ranking in the AP poll. Manning had 5 touchdowns and 1 interception in that stretch. The Rebels' fortunes turned in the latter half of the season with a 5-game losing streak. In the stretch was a 4,828 loss to Arkansas, in which Manning completed 42 of 56 passes for 414 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. In addition, he had a rushing touchdown. After a 2,412 win over rival Mississippi State, the Rebels qualified for the Independence Bowl with a 66 record to face off against Nebraska. Manning passed for 313 yards and 1 touchdown in the 2,723 victory. Overall, Manning finished with 3,401 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions in his junior season. Manning started off his senior season with a 22 record. He played well in that stretch with 1,329 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions with victories over Vanderbilt and Louisiana Monroe but losses to Memphis and Texas Tech. The Rebels went on a 6-game winning streak that included victories over major SEC opponents number 24 Florida, Alabama, number 21 Arkansas, South Carolina, and Auburn. Manning passed for 1,552 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in the winning streak. Overall, he led the Rebels to a 103 record and a 3,128 SBC Kodo and Bowl Classic victory over the number 21 Oklahoma State Cowboys with 259 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in 2003. As his senior year came to a close, Manning won many awards, including the Maxwell Award as the nation's best all-around player, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, the National Football Foundation and College Football Hall of Fame Scholar Athlete Award, the Sporting News Radio Socrates Award, and the SEC Most Valuable Player Award. He was also a candidate for the 2003 Heisman Trophy, finishing third in the voting after winning quarterback Jason White of the University of Oklahoma and University of Pittsburgh wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. Manning was a member of Sigma Nu fraternity as was his father, and he was named Sigma Nu Athlete of the Year in 2001 and 2003. Manning graduated from the University of Mississippi with a degree in marketing and a GPA of 3.44 and was on the Dean's Honor Roll. Professional career. The San Diego Chargers had the first overall pick in the 2004 NFL Draft due to their 412 record in 2003. With Manning being the most coveted player in the draft, it appeared that the Chargers' intentions were to draft him first overall. Meanwhile, Manning and his father Archie Manning stated that he would refuse to play for the Chargers if drafted by them. Archie Manning asked the father of former Chargers quarterback Ryan Leaf before the draft about his son's experience with the team. In hearing that the Chargers did not help Leaf with his personal problems, it then became part of why Eli refused to play for the team. The Chargers selected Manning with the first pick overall nonetheless, as the team had a deal with the New York Giants, whereby the Giants would draft and then trade Phillip Rivers and a 2004 third-round pick, used to select place kicker Nate Ketting, a 2005 first-round pick, used to select linebacker Sean Merriman, and a 2005 fifth-round pick, which was later traded away, to the Chargers for Manning. He signed a 6-year, $45 million contract with the Giants. Manning was one of 17 quarterbacks taken in the 2004 NFL Draft, along with Rivers and the Pittsburgh Steelers' Ben Roethlisberger. All three would enjoy lengthy and successful careers with the teams that signed them and have been compared favorably to the 1983 NFL Draft, which included Hall of Fame quarterbacks John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino. Manning posted the lowest pass completions, completion percentage, TINT ratio, passing yards, passer rating, wins, winning percentage, and Pro Bowl honors of the three, but cemented his legacy with his 2 upset Super Bowl victories against the New England Patriots sports dynasty. While both Manning and Roethlisberger were part of 2 Super Bowl winning teams, Manning is the only quarterback of the 3 to earn Super Bowl MVP honors, which he received in both victories. Manning made his NFL regular season debut in Week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. He came into the game toward the end of fourth quarter in relief of Kurt Warner. He finished the 3,117 loss 3 of 9 for 66 yards. Manning made his first career regular season start against the Atlanta Falcons at Giants Stadium on November 21, 2004. In the game, Manning threw his first career touchdown on a 6-yard pass to Jeremy Shockey in the third quarter. In his fourth start, against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium on December 12, 2004, he ended the day with a 0.0 passer rating and was benched in the second half in favor of Warner, but remained the Giants starter through the end of the season. In Week 15, Against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he recorded his first multi-touchdown performance with 182 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 3,330 loss in a duel with fellow rookie quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. In the regular season finale, Manning passed for 144 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 2,824 victory over the Dallas Cowboys, getting his first win as a starter. The Giants finished with a .610 record and were 16 in games that Manning started in. He finished with 1,043 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Following 2004, Warner left the Giants, and Manning was named the starter for 2005. Manning led the Giants to a 20 record with victories against the Arizona Cardinals and New Orleans Saints, before traveling to the West Coast for a test in a road game against the San Diego Chargers. Chargers fans did not forget the snub, and on September 25, 2005, when Manning and the Giants made their first trip to San Diego for a game since that draft day, the crowd booed Manning loudly every time he touched the ball. San Diego defeated the Giants, 4,523, but Manning displayed what may have been his most impressive performance of his young career, going 24 of 41 for 352 yards and 2 touchdowns. Manning returned home to throw for almost 300 yards and a career-high 4 touchdowns against the St. Louis Rams at Giants Stadium in a 4,424 romp. 2 games later, he led a last-minute drive against the Denver Broncos to secure a 2,423 victory for the Giants. The drive culminated in a 2-yard touchdown to Amani Toomer with 5 seconds remaining. 2 weeks later, Manning overcame a weak first half against the San Francisco 49ers to help his team secure their first official road victory of the season, 246. Despite a poor performance at home against the Minnesota Vikings, throwing 4 interceptions, he again led his team back to tie the game in the final minutes before the Vikings won on a late field goal. Manning finished among the top 5 quarterbacks in both passing yards and touchdown passes, while leading an offense that finished 3rd in the NFL in scoring with a total of 422 points. It was the most points the Giants scored in a single season since 1963. The Giants won the NFC East with an 115 record and advanced to the postseason as the number 4 seed. In the wild-card round against the Carolina Panthers, Manning was 10 of 18 for 113 yards and 3 interceptions in the 230 loss. Manning's second full season was reminiscent of his 2005 season. He started off playing well and completed over 65% of his passes through the first 4 games. However, he struggled in the second half of the season and his production diminished towards the end of the regular season. After losing a tough game to his brother Peyton and the Indianapolis Colts on opening day, Manning and the Giants rebounded from a 247 fourth-quarter deficit en route to a 3,024 overtime victory over the division rival Philadelphia Eagles in Week 2. Manning threw for a career-high 371 yards in the win with 3 touchdowns including a game-winning pass to Plaxico Burress in overtime to earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Following a poor performance against the Seattle Seahawks the next week, Manning and the Giants responded by winning 5 straight games including wins over the Washington Redskins, Dallas Cowboys, and Atlanta Falcons to push their record to 62. Following this winning streak, key injuries including one to wide receiver Amani Toomer pushed Manning and the Giants into a downward slide. Playing against the Chicago Bears, Manning started well, but the Giants' offense was derailed by the loss of left tackle Luke Pettigrew to a broken leg. Manning was held to only 141 yards passing with 2 interceptions. Pettigrew's loss left a gaping hole at the crucial left tackle position, and Manning was unable to repeat his first-half success. Manning struggled the next week against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the week after that, a costly interception helped to culminate a huge collapse on the road against the Tennessee Titans, with the Giants seeing a 21-point fourth-quarter lead simply evaporate. Manning improved the following week, throwing for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys, but the Giants lost 2,320. Finally regaining momentum, Manning threw 3 touchdowns in a win on the road against the Carolina Panthers, but then he stumbled badly in the final 3 games. He threw 2 interceptions against the Philadelphia Eagles and tallied only 73 passing yards in a game against the New Orleans Saints. Although the Giants battled back to 88 the following week on the road against the Washington Redskins, Manning completed only 12 of 26 passes for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. The Giants qualified for the postseason as the number 6 seed and met the Philadelphia Eagles. Although he did significantly better in this game than the 2005 playoff game against the Carolina Panthers, completing 16 of 27 passes for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, the Giants lost in the wild card round on a last-second field goal by the Eagles. For the year, Manning threw for 3,244 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. He completed 57.7% of his passes, a 5-point improvement from 2005, but he again struggled badly in the second half of the season. Manning finished the season with a quarterback efficiency rating of 77.0, 18th in the league, with 6.2 yards per attempt. Manning trained in the Meadowlands with offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride and new quarterbacks coach Chris Palmer prior to the 2007 regular season. For the first time ever, Plaxico Burress and Jeremy Shockey practiced in the off-season with Manning to perfect their timing and chemistry rather than training alone in Miami as they did in previous years. Manning opened the 2007 season with an outstanding personal performance against the Dallas Cowboys, completing 28 of 41 passing attempts for 312 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception, but suffered a shoulder sprain and was removed from the game late in the second half. Although he did play against the Green Bay Packers in Week 2 while throwing for 211 yards with 1 touchdown, the Giants' defense performed poorly again and the team dropped to 0-2 with Green Bay winning 3,513. In Week 3, Manning got a come-from-behind victory as the Giants' defense improved, pitching a shutout in the second half and stopping the Washington Redskins on a 4th-and-goal situation, winning the game 2,417. The Giants' defense then shut down the Philadelphia Eagles with an NFL record-tying 12 sacks, holding the Eagles' offense to 1 field goal. The Giants won with a score of 163. The following week, Manning overcame a dismal first half to throw for 2 second-half scores in a 3,524 win over their in-city rivals, the New York Jets. Following 2 straight home victories, Manning and the Giants obtained their 4th consecutive victory with a 3,110 defeat of the Atlanta Falcons in the Georgia Dome on Monday Night Football. Manning performed well, completing 27 of 39 passes for 303 yards along with a pair of touchdowns while giving away 2 interceptions. Behind a dominant defensive effort, the Giants improved to 52 the next week with a 3,315 win over the San Francisco 49ers. Manning played well again, throwing for 2 touchdowns in the effort. In Week 8, the Giants played a road game against the Miami Dolphins on October 28, 2007, in London's Wembley Stadium. Manning only threw for 59 yards in the rain and mud, but he scored the Giants' only touchdown on a 10-yard run. This touchdown was the first in an NFL regular season game that was played outside of North America. The Giants defeated the Dolphins, 1,310. Bringing the Giants to a 62 record at the midway point of the 2007 season. After losing to their division rivals the Dallas Cowboys in Week 9, New York Giants co-owner John Mara publicly questioned Manning's ability to lead the New York Giants in 2007 but more importantly in the future. "The only thing we evaluate is can we win with this guy? That's the one thing. When we talk about any player at the end of the season, the number one question is will he help us win? And to take it one step further, can we win a championship with this guy?" After a week of criticism in the New York media and being outplayed by Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo, Manning had a bounce-back victory against their conference wild-card competitors the Detroit Lions. Manning threw for 283 yards and 1 touchdown but most importantly, no interceptions in a critical road game. The following week in a 4,117 loss to the Minnesota Vikings, Manning threw 4 interceptions and had 3 of them returned for touchdowns. He continued to struggle until the last game of the season, against the 150 New England Patriots. With a playoff spot secured, the Giants could have rested their starters for the playoffs, but they instead chose to keep in the regulars and attempt to stop New England's quest for an undefeated regular season. The Giants lost 3,835, with Manning completing 22 of 32 passes for 252 yards, with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. The Giants entered the playoffs as the number 5 seed. On January 6, 2008, in the wild card round, Manning went 20 of 27 for 185 yards playing on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The underdog Giants won 24-14, and Manning had 2 touchdown passes. On January 13, 2008, in the divisional round Manning led the Giants to an upset victory over the heavily favored Dallas Cowboys, the number 1 seed in the NFC. For the third straight game, Manning played well, completing 12 of 18 passes for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions. The Giants were the first team to beat an NFC number 1 seed in the divisional round since the start of the 12-team format in 1990. This victory secured an NFC championship berth against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, January 20, 2008. In the NFC championship, the Giants beat the Packers in overtime, with a score of 2,320. The dramatic victory secured Manning and the Giants a trip to Super Bowl 42. This was the first Super Bowl appearance for the New York Giants since Super Bowl 35 in 2001, and their first Super Bowl victory since Super Bowl 25. In front of the record-setting American television audience and on the strength of a late fourth-quarter drive led by Manning, the Giants beat the 12.5-point favored, undefeated New England Patriots 17-14. Manning takes the snap, back to throw, under pressure, avoids the rush and he's gonna fight out of it, still fights out of it, now throws it deep downfield, wide open Tyree who makes the catch at the 24-yard line. What a play by Manning. Trailing 1,410 with 2:42 remaining, Manning led the Giants 83 yards on a game-winning touchdown drive. On a crucial 3rd and 5 at the Giants' 44-yard line, Manning connected with David Tyree on a play in which he avoided several near sacks and Tyree caught the ball off his helmet for a large gain. 4 plays later, Plaxico Burress caught a 13-yard touchdown pass with just 35 seconds remaining for the winning margin. Manning became only the second quarterback in NFL history to throw 2 go-ahead fourth-quarter touchdowns in a Super Bowl. Manning also became the first quarterback to throw a last-minute, championship-winning touchdown in the NFL title game, including the pre-Super Bowl era, when a field goal would not at least tie the game. Following the Giants' monumental victory, Manning and the coaching staff spoke briefly with President George W. Bush. Manning was named the most valuable player of Super Bowl 42. He and his brother Peyton are the only brother combination to play at quarterback in the Super Bowl and the only set of brothers to win Super Bowl MVP, doing so in successive years. For winning Super Bowl MVP, he was given his choice of any 2008 model Cadillac, and Manning chose an Escalade hybrid. The Wednesday following the Super Bowl he appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman. Manning and the Giants opened the 2008 season with a win over their division rivals, the Washington Redskins, 167. "It was a great opening to the season," said Manning, who completed 19 passes of 35 for 216 yards, and had 1 rushing touchdown and 1 interception. "There was a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement. You could feel it in the crowd." In the Giants' next game, against the St. Louis Rams, they won again, 4,113, behind a stellar Manning performance. Manning finished the game with 20 completions, 260 yards passing and threw 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. The victory also marked the team's 4th straight victory over the Rams. The following week, Manning rallied the Giants to more fourth-quarter magic, overcoming a late deficit to throw the go-ahead touchdown pass to tight end Kevin Boss, and then in overtime, throwing a clutch 31-yard pass to Amani Toomer in the Giants' 2,623 win over Cincinnati Bengals. The 4th week of the season saw the Giants score on each of their first 6 possessions and dominate the Seattle Seahawks, 446. Manning threw for 2 touchdowns, completing 19 of 25 passes for 267 yards as the Giants totaled 523 yards on offense, their most since 2002. Following a poor team performance in a 3,514 loss on the road against the Cleveland Browns, Manning and the Giants responded with a 2,917 win over the 49ers and battled to a hard-earned 2,114 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers at Pittsburgh's Heinz Field. Manning completed 19 of 32 passes for 199 yards and 1 touchdown in the crucial win, which pushed the Giants to a 6-1 record. The following week, the Giants beat the Dallas Cowboys at home 3,514 to get to 71 at the midway point of the regular season. Manning threw 3 touchdowns in the game. New York improved to 81 with a 3,631 win on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Manning threw 2 touchdowns in the victory, but the crucial play occurred in the 3rd quarter. With the Giants trailing by 4, Manning appeared to make an illegal forward pass to tight end Boss. After review, it was determined that the pass was legal. The Giants scored a touchdown 2 plays later. Week 9 pitted the Giants in a battle with the visiting Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens had come into the game with the league's 3rd-ranked defense. Nevertheless, Manning led the Giants to a decisive 3,010 victory, improving to 91, which included a 200-yard rushing effort by running backs Brandon Jacobs, Derek Ward, and Ahmad Bradshaw. 2 weeks later, the Giants faced the Redskins at Washington in their second encounter in the season. Manning threw his first 300-yard game of the season, going 21 of 34 with an interception and a 40-yard touchdown pass to Toomer. The Giants beat the Redskins 237. In November, Manning was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Month. For the month, Manning threw for 1,036 yards and 10 touchdowns, and compiled a 94.9 passer rating while leading the Giants to a perfect 50 record. Manning was named to his first Pro Bowl on December 16, making him the first Giants quarterback to earn the honor since Phil Simms in 1993. In Week 15, Manning and the Giants visited Texas Stadium, where Tony Romo battled through a lower back contusion and connected with 9 different receivers, finishing 20 of 30 for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the Dallas Cowboys to a 208 victory. In Week 16 against the Carolina Panthers with NFC home field advantage on the line, Manning had a passing day of 17 of 27 for 181 yards and no interceptions. Manning led the Giants back from deficits of 2,110 and 2,820 to tie the game with just over 3 minutes left, including a bullet pass to Dominic Hickson for a key 2-point conversion to tie the game at 28. The game was played in freezing conditions. After becoming the number 1 seed in the NFC with a 124 record, the Giants had a first playoff round bye week and home field advantage through the rest of the playoffs. In the divisional round, they faced their arch-rival Philadelphia Eagles at Giants Stadium with its signature windy conditions. Philadelphia went on to win the game 2,311. Manning completed 15 out of 29 passes for 169 yards with no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. On August 5, 2009, he signed a 6-year $97.5 million contract extension. Manning and the Giants opened the 2009 season with a win over their division rival, the Washington Redskins, 2,316. Manning played well, completing 20 of 29 passing attempts for 256, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Manning and the Giants traveled to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys in the opening of their new Cowboys Stadium on Sunday Night Football. Manning played outstanding, completing 25 of 38 passing attempts for 330 yards, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, which resulted in a 3,331 win for the Giants on a last-second field goal. In Week 3, Manning and the Giants played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he completed 14 of 24 passes for 161 yards, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, and as the Giants had a big lead, he was taken from the game at the start of the second quarter. The Giants ended up winning 240. In Week 4, the Giants played the Kansas City Chiefs. Manning was playing well up until the start of the fourth quarter, when on a play-action fake Manning injured his heel while passing downfield to Steve Smith. He stayed in for the next play, completing a 54-yard touchdown to Hakeem Nicks. It was discovered that Manning had plantar fasciitis, inflammation of connective tissue within the soles of the feet, and there was speculation he would not play against the Oakland Raiders in Week 5. However, in Week 5, Manning played well, completing 8 of 10 passes for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, with the Giants winning 447. This was the first time in his career that Manning had posted a perfect passer rating. After this 5-game winning streak, the Giants fell to a 4-game losing streak, losing to the New Orleans Saints, the Arizona Cardinals, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the San Diego Chargers, before winning again after a bye week on Week 11 when they played the Atlanta Falcons, winning 3,431 in overtime. Against the Falcons, Manning posted a career-high 384 passing yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. On Thanksgiving, the Giants traveled to Denver to play the Denver Broncos, where they lost 266. Manning completed 24 of 40 passes for 230 yards, with no touchdowns and an interception. In Week 14 they played their divisional rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, and lost 4,538, where it was a close game from the start. Manning passed for a career-high 391 yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, but was not able to win the game. Next week, on Monday Night Football, Manning and the Giants dominated the Redskins, winning the game 4,512. The next week, in the final game in Giants Stadium, Manning and the Giants lost 419 against the Carolina Panthers. The Giants did not fare better the next week on the road against the Minnesota Vikings in the final regular season game, losing 447 while down 38 points in the fourth quarter. After the games, Manning apologized to the fans for the team's performance. The Giants finished the 2009 season with an 88 record and missed the playoffs. Manning ended the 2009 season with career highs including 4,021 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, a 62.3 completion percentage rating, and a passer rating of 93.1. On August 16 during a preseason game against the New York Jets, Manning was hit by Brandon Jacobs, then by Calvin Pace, which knocked off his helmet, then went face first into Jim Leonhardt's face mask. As a result, Manning had a large gash that needed 12 stitches. Manning left the game. Manning started the season with 263 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in the 3,118 victory over the Carolina Panthers. In a Week 3 game with the Tennessee Titans, Manning put together a season-high 386 passing but 2 interceptions in the 2,910 loss to put the Giants at 12. The Giants went on a 5-game winning streak following the loss. In that stretch was a Week 7 4,135 victory over the Dallas Cowboys, where Manning passed for 306 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. In Week 15, he had 289 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 3,831 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. In Week 16, Manning connected on with Mario Manningham on a then-career-high 85-yard receiving touchdown in a 4,517 loss to the Green Bay Packers. The mark was broken the next week when Manning completed a 92-yard passing touchdown to Manningham in the 17-14 victory over the Washington Redskins. The Giants ended the 2010 NFL season with a 106 record. Manning led the Giants to a 17-14 win in the last game of the season against the Washington Redskins. However, because of Green Bay Packers' 103 win over the Chicago Bears, the Giants did not make the playoffs. He ended the season with 4,002 yards, a career-high 31 touchdowns, but also a career-high 25 interceptions, which marked the most by a quarterback in the 2010 season, and a 62.5 completion percentage. In August 2011, Manning generated mild controversy in the sports media during a radio interview on The Michael Kay Show. When asked by host Michael Kay whether he was an elite top 10, top 5 quarterback in the same class as Tom Brady, he responded, "I consider myself in that class. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. I think now he's grown up and gotten better every year and that's what I'm trying to do. I kind of hope these next 7 years of my quarterback days are my best." Manning received criticism for the quote for trying to inflate his own status and skills, with critics pointing out his past inconsistent stats, including his 25 interceptions in the previous season, as evidence contradicting his claims. However, Manning also received support for his comments from Giants coach Tom Coughlin and teammates such as wide receiver Hakeem Nicks. Later in the season, Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Rob Ryan commented on the quote, agreeing with Manning that he was an elite quarterback for sure. The Giants opened the 2011 season with a slow start, losing to the rival Washington Redskins 2,814 in an emotional game for both fan bases on the 10th anniversary of the September 11 attacks. Manning completed 18 of 32 passes for 268 yards but threw a costly interception in the third quarter to linebacker Ryan Kerrigan, who returned it for a touchdown and swung the momentum of the game. However, the Giants recovered and won their next 3 games, including over the arch-rival Philadelphia Eagles, where he had 254 passing yards and 4 touchdowns in the 2,916 victory to earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week. During this streak, Manning improved, throwing for 266 yards per game with 8 total touchdowns and 1 interception. After a 62 start, including a 2,420 last-minute comeback by Manning over the New England Patriots that evoked comparisons to Super Bowl 42, the Giants entered a tough stretch of their schedule, facing off against the San Francisco 49ers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Green Bay Packers, the respective eventual NFC West, South, and North champions. The Giants lost all 3 games as well as falling to the Philadelphia Eagles at home, leading them into a 4-game skid and once again putting their postseason hopes in jeopardy. However, unlike the previous 3 seasons, the Giants finished strong, winning 3 of their last 4 games. This included a key win over the crosstown rival New York Jets, where Manning tied a NFL record by completing a 99-yard touchdown pass to Victor Cruz, as well as a sweep of their fellow division rival Dallas Cowboys. In the final regular season game against the Dallas Cowboys, Manning threw for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns, giving the Giants the win, the NFC East title, and a playoff berth for the first time in 3 years. He earned a Pro Bowl nomination for his performance in the 2011 season. He threw for at least 400 yards in 3 separate games, setting a new franchise record. The Giants entered the 2011 postseason as underdogs, with the worst record of any NFC playoff team. However, Manning and his team would once again demonstrate their endurance and durability late in the year. The Giants first easily routed the Atlanta Falcons 242 in the wild card round and then stunned the defending Super Bowl champions and top-seeded Green Bay Packers in the divisional round to advance to the NFC Championship game. In the win, Manning completed 21 out of 33 attempts and threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. The following week, the Giants avenged their regular season loss to the San Francisco 49ers with a dramatic 2017 overtime win in the NFC Championship game. In the game, Manning set franchise playoff records with 32 completions on 52 attempts, good enough for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns despite being sacked a franchise record-tying 6 times. This victory secured Manning and the Giants a second trip in 5 years to the Super Bowl, setting up a highly anticipated Super Bowl 42 rematch against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The Giants also made history as the first Super Bowl team ever team outscored in the regular season, 394 points scored, 400 points allowed. In the most watched program in the history of United States television, Manning once again led the Giants to an upset victory over the 2.MW parser output. SR only border: 0, clip rect 0,0,0,0, height: 1px, margin, 1px, overflow hidden, padding: 0, position absolute, width: 1px, white space NORAP 12 favored Patriots 2117, his second Super Bowl win and the 4th overall for the franchise. "I was yelling to, don't score, Manning said. He tried to stop, but he fell into the end zone. While trailing the Patriots 1,517 in the final minutes, Manning led the Giants 88 yards down the field to a touchdown that many observers described as accidental. With just over a minute of time left in the game, the Giants called a running play and Manning handed off the ball to Ahmad Bradshaw with the hopes of stopping short of the goal line and forcing the Patriots to use their final timeout, thus allowing the Giants to run out the clock. The Patriots, in turn, did not attempt to tackle Bradshaw in his run, and he then fell over the goal line despite making an attempt to stop. However, the remaining time was not enough for Patriots quarterback Tom Brady to lead a comeback and the Giants held on to the lead to win. Manning was again named the most valuable player of Super Bowl 46, becoming the 3rd quarterback in a row to win the award. The Giants also became the first team ever with fewer than 10 wins in a 16-game regular season to win the Super Bowl. Manning also became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4,900+ yards and win the Super Bowl in the same season. The Giants were the first team with a running game ranked last, 32nd, and a defense ranked as low as 27th to win a Super Bowl. For winning the Super Bowl, Manning and the Giants received a victory parade in Manhattan and were honored with symbolic keys to the city by Mayor Michael Bloomberg. He was ranked 31st by his fellow players on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2012. The Giants endured a disappointing season following their Super Bowl run in 2011. Manning led the Giants to a 62 record to begin their season, including a career-best 510 passing yards to go along with 3 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions in a Week 2 4,134 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He finished second only to Phil Sims's game with 513 passing yards in 1985 for the franchise record. However, Manning averaged an anemic 204 yards per game and 74.3 passer rating from Week 8 to Week 16, including his lowest rating in 5 years, 38.9, in a 340 loss to the Atlanta Falcons in Week 15. He ended the 2012 season on a high note, throwing a career-high 5 touchdown passes while completing 13 of 21 pass attempts and passing for 208 yards with no interceptions, in a 427 Giants win over the Philadelphia Eagles. He finished the season with 26 touchdown passes, 15 interceptions, and 3,948 passing yards. As was typical for this phase of his career, 20,122,016, Manning was exceptionally well protected by his offensive line. He was sacked just 19 times for a league lowest 3.4% of passing plays. Although the Giants did not qualify for the playoffs with the '97 season, Manning was selected to his third Pro Bowl as a second alternate. Manning started the 2013 season off with 450 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in a 3,631 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Manning set a franchise record for most passing yards in a season opener, breaking Phil Simms' mark of 409 passing yards in the 1984 regular season opener. The loss was a sign of things to come as the Giants started the season with an 0-6 record, their worst regular season start since 1976. He threw 12 interceptions in his first 5 games. Manning fell to 0-3 against his older brother, Peyton, in Week 2's 4,123 loss to the Denver Broncos. He was 28 of 39 for 362 yards, but was intercepted 4 times. Manning's 4 interceptions tied his career high and was the 4th time he threw 4 interceptions in a game. The game between Peyton and Eli was the final professional meeting of the two brothers. In Week 15, Manning threw for 156 yards and a career-high 5 interceptions in a 230 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Manning ended the season with a career-high 27 interceptions, which were the most in one season by a quarterback since Brett Favre had 29 in 2005. The Giants finished the season 79, their first losing record since Manning's rookie year in 2004. Manning passed Phil Simms to become the franchise's all-time leader in yards passing. Simms, who played 14 seasons with the Giants, finished his career with 33,462 yards in the air. He was ranked 43rd by his fellow players on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2014. After an 0-2 start, the Giants won 3 straight games but subsequently lost their next 7 games, including a 1,610 loss to the San Francisco 49ers in a game where Manning threw 5 interceptions, which tied his career high. The Giants won 3 of their last 4 games to end the season with a 610 record. Among Manning's highlights from the losing season was a Week 17 game where he had 429 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception in a 3,426 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Manning finished the season with 30 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions, and 4,410 passing yards. A few days before the Giants' regular season opener against the Dallas Cowboys, Manning signed a 4-year, $84 million extension with the Giants. In Week 5, he had a franchise record 41 completions for 441 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in a 3,027 victory over the San Francisco 49ers to earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Through 6 games, he led the Giants to a 33 record and a tie for first place in the NFC East. In Week 8, Manning threw a career-high 6 touchdowns and 350 yards, but the Giants lost to the New Orleans Saints, 5,249. He became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 6 touchdowns and no interceptions in a game and lose. In Week 10, in a narrow 2,726 loss to the undefeated New England Patriots, Manning passed for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of which was an 87-yard strike to Odell Beckham Jr. in the first quarter. In Week 14, in a 3,124 victory over the Miami Dolphins, he was 27 of 31 for 337 passing yards and 4 touchdowns to earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week. After starting the season 55, Giants fell to 15 the rest of the way to finish 610 for the second straight season. Manning's longtime coach and Tom Cullen stepped down at the end of the season. Manning finished the 2015 season with career highs in touchdown passes, 35, completions, 387, attempts, 618, and passer rating, 93.6. His 35 touchdowns were one shy of tying WikiTube title for most in a single season in franchise history and ranked second among quarterbacks that year. Manning also threw 4,432 yards in 2015, second most in his career. On January 22, 2016, Manning was selected to his 4th career Pro Bowl, replacing Ben Roethlisberger. Manning's 4th Pro Bowl berth ties Fran Tarkenton for most Pro Bowl selections by a New York Giants quarterback in franchise history. He was ranked 47th by his fellow players on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2016. Manning had a new head coach in Ben McAdoo for the 2016 season. In the regular season opener against their divisional rival Dallas Cowboys on September 11, Manning threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interception for 207 yards, as the Giants would hang on to win 2019. On October 16, in a victory over the Baltimore Ravens, Manning threw for 3 touchdowns, reaching a career total of 302 touchdown passes and passing John Elway for 7th all-time. Coming off a bye week and on a 2-game winning streak, beating the Ravens and the Los Angeles Rams, Manning threw a season-high 4 touchdowns as the Giants would halt a last-second game-winning drive by the Philadelphia Eagles to win 2,823. In a Week 16 loss against the Eagles on December 22, Manning set a franchise record with 63 pass attempts in a single game, while throwing 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, surpassing Peyton Manning's record of 21 games with at least 3 interceptions with 22. Despite the loss, though, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the New Orleans Saints later that week 3,124, giving the Giants their first playoff berth since the 2011 season, when the team last won the Super Bowl. By defeating the rival Washington Redskins in the final week of the NFL season on New Year's Day and, therefore, knocking the Redskins out of playoff contention and bringing their season record to 115, their first winning season since 2012, Manning and the Giants faced the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field in the wild-card round of the NFL playoffs, as Manning completed 23 of 44 of his passes for 299 yards, while throwing for a touchdown. Manning was back to his playoff self in the game, but was let down by numerous drops by Odell Beckham Jr. and other star playmakers. The Packers would eventually rout the Giants 3,813, ending the Giants' season. Manning finished the season recording 4,027 passing, 26 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions with an 86.0 passer rating. On February 4, 2017, Manning and Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald both won the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award, making it the first time since the 2006 season that 2 players were co-winners of this award, Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson. Manning started the 2017 season off with a 193 loss to the Dallas Cowboys on NBC Sunday Night Football. In the game, he had 220 passing yards, but the offense struggled to sustain consistent success. Despite solid performances from Manning, the Giants dropped the next 4 games to start the season with a 0-5 record, with the last 3 games of that stretch being lost by a combined 10 points. The Giants broke their losing streak with a 2,310 victory over the Denver Broncos. The success was short-lived as the Giants lost the next game to the Seattle Seahawks by a score of 247. During Week 9 against the Los Angeles Rams, Manning finished with 220 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception as the Giants lost by a score of 5,117. During the Rams game, he became the 7th quarterback to reach 50,000 passing yards. On November 28, after a 29 start to the season, it was announced that Manning would be benched and replaced by Geno Smith in Week 13 against the Oakland Raiders, ending Manning's streak of 210 consecutive regular season games started. The streak was second all-time for quarterbacks behind Brett Favre's 297. Head coach Ben McAdoo gave Manning the option of starting to keep the streak going, but Manning declined, stating that "My feeling is that if you are going to play the other guys, play them. Starting just to keep the streak going and knowing you won't finish the game and have a chance to win it is pointless to me, and it tarnishes the streak." The move was met with backlash from former Giants players and coaches. On December 5, 2 days after the Week 13 game, Manning was renamed the starter by interim head coach Steve Spagnuolo after McAdoo was terminated as head coach. During Week 15 against the Philadelphia Eagles, Manning finished with 434 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. The Giants lost 3,429, allowing the Eagles to clinch a first-round bye. On December 24, against the Arizona Cardinals, Manning passed John Elway to take sole possession of 6th place on the NFL's all-time passing yard list. Manning started the regular season finale against the Washington Redskins. In the 18-10 victory, he had 132 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception as the Giants ended their disappointing season with a 313 record. Following speculation that Manning would be released, new Giants head coach Pat Shurmur put these rumors aside by saying, "I think what's important is we have a guy here who has helped this organization win Super Bowls. He's an outstanding player and I'm really looking forward to working with him." After losses to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Dallas Cowboys to start the season, Manning and the Giants defeated the Houston Texans by a score of 2,722. Manning was efficient, going 25 of 29 for 297 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. The Giants lost the next 5 consecutive games, with Manning leading the leagues in sacks for most of that stretch despite an improved running game from rookie Saquon Barkley. Manning had 399 yards passing in the fourth of these losses, Game 7 against the Atlanta Falcons, but was sacked 7 times and threw 2 interceptions in Game 8. Manning rebounded with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions in the following week's victory over the San Francisco 49ers, and a remarkable 17 completions on 18 attempts for 2 touchdowns in a win the following week over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants went 44 over the last 8 games of the season to finish 511 and last in the NFC East. Manning passed for 4,299 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions in the 2018 season. Manning started the Giants' first 2 games of the season, passing for 306 yards and a touchdown in a 3,517 loss to the Dallas Cowboys and 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions in a 2,814 loss to the Buffalo Bills. On September 17, 2019, the Giants announced that Manning would not start the team's Week 3 game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, instead opting for 2019 first-round pick Daniel Jones. This was thought to be the end of Manning's pro career, but he was brought back to the starting line again on December 9 in an away game against the Philadelphia Eagles, due to an injury suffered by Jones against the Packers. During the game, Manning threw for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns to rookie wide receiver Darius Slayton, but the game ended in a 2,317 overtime loss for the Giants. In the following week's game against the Miami Dolphins at home, Manning threw for 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, leading the team to a 3,620 win. As the game ended, Manning was taken off the field and received a standing ovation from fans who believed this was Manning's final home game as T.'s starting quarterback. Jones returned to action in Week 16 and Manning's season was over. He finished with 1,042 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 4 games as the Giants finished the season 412. On January 22, 2020, Manning announced his retirement, with an official press conference scheduled for January 24. John Morris stated during the press conference that Manning would be inducted into the Giants' Ring of Honor in 2020 and that Manning's number 10 jersey would be retired. Other ventures. Eli co-starred with his brother Peyton in ads for InfoShop.com and for Oreo. Eli is a spokesman for Citizen Watch Company, Toyota of New Jersey, and Reebok. He reportedly received several more endorsement offers after reaching Super Bowl 42. On May 5, 2012, Eli hosted NBC's Saturday Night Live Season 37 Episode 20, with musical guest Rihanna. His brother Peyton had hosted the show 5 years earlier. Personal life. In 2007, he proposed to Abby McGrew of Nashville, Tennessee. McGrew studied fashion in New York City, and has been with Manning since their days at the University of Mississippi. The couple wed in a private ceremony held in San Jose del Cabo, Mexico on April 19, 2008. Manning and Abby have 3 daughters and a son. They reside in Summit, New Jersey. Eli and Peyton Manning volunteered in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. The Mannings assisted in the delivery of 30,000 pounds, 14,000 kilograms, of water, Gatorade, baby formula, hummus, and pillows to the people of New Orleans. After touring the University of Mississippi Medical Center's Blair E. Batson Hospital for Children, he undertook a 5-year campaign in 2007 to raise $2.5 million for the construction of the Eli Manning Children's Clinics at the Children's Hospital. Manning said in 2007, "I am humbled by the work they do and am honored to make this 5-year commitment to help raise funds to build this state-of-the-art clinic that will serve Mississippi families for years to come." His father, Archie Manning, has also raised funds for Katrina relief efforts. In 2009, Eli, Peyton, and Archie Manning co-authored a children's book entitled Family Huddle, which describes in simple text and pictures how the 3 Manning brothers played football as young boys. Scholastic Press, illustrations by Jim Madsen. In 2010, Manning helped raise funds for awareness of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, in wake of the catastrophe. Since 2008, Manning has been the host of Guiding Eyes for the Blind's Golf Classic, the oldest and largest charity golf event in Westchester County, New York. Guiding Eyes is a nonprofit guide dog school serving the blind and visually impaired from around the world, as well as children on the autism spectrum. He is a former member of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports. External links. Names in bold are still active.